Welcome back to the second half of Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Detective Dennis Cabarly and Miss Phyllis Wrights, a member of a Block Watch. Detective, welcome back.
How are you doing, Mayor?
Phyllis, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Detective, tell us about your role in the Neighborhood Block Watch program. You're not the only detective that works in, but you clearly were the one that helped start all of this get going.
Yes. What we do, Mayor, if we find that there's an inordinate amount of crime in an area, whether it's quality of life, squatters, and some of the abandoned houses, we'll go into that neighborhood and try to get the neighbors together to have a meeting, to discuss what some of the issues are, and we start the meetings that way.
And Dennis, you go throughout in different areas of the city, whether it be from the Port to Elmore or from Bayway to North End. I mean, you traverse it all over the place,
yes,
correct?
Sir. That's correct.
And are the concerns different? Some of them are the same. Quality of life. Tell us about some of the issues.
Some of the quality of a lot of the quality of life are the abandoned buildings. If there's an abandoned building in the neighborhood where squatters get in, the neighbors are extremely afraid of fire, something happening to that house because there's children in the house, living in the basement, living in the attic. That is one of the biggest concerns. The other concern is normally speeding cars.
Graffiti come up at the meetings?
Not too often, but the neighbors are told that we have a graffiti removal program throughout the city, and they are more than happy, especially when they see results done the very next day, if not that day, having that graffiti removed.
And Phyllis, you've been going to neighborhood Block Watch meetings for how long now?
Probably about 6, 7 years now I go.
And the Block Watch meeting that you go to, how many people usually attend your Block Watch meeting?
Normally we have about 25, 30 people that show up.
And is it an engaging group?
Yes. I think they like coming. I think after a while they come as they get to know their neighbors, and they come as a social call. They want to see what's going on in the area.
But there's also other informative things that have happened at the meetings as well, rather than just police issues. Especially at your group meetings, right?
Yes.
And maybe there's somebody coming in talking about wills or anything like that, or...
We have different guest speakers that come occasionally. We have different people from the city departments come. We've had outside people come.
Members of the prosecutor's office came and talked about certain laws and Megan's Law and things like that.
We had a tape on that, which we usually do annually, and the neighbors go around, and if they have any concerns, they address Detective Cabarly or Councilman Keenan, and then the councilman and detective go around and tell if anything's been going on in our area. And
the prosecutor's office has come to other meetings throughout the city as well, talking about Megan's Law or other laws that may impact local residents.
Right, internet security, child pornography, numerous things, and they've been helpful in their presentations coming to these meetings. Yes.
And Phyllis, a member of your group was actually instrumental in helping the police not long ago. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, at the last meeting, one of the residents that came to the meeting said that they had noticed something suspicious in their area, and they thought it was unusual, and they called Detective Cabarly, and it turns out that there was a break-in in the area, and from there the Elizabeth Police Department handled it.
And Dennis, from that phone call, I understand there was a successful result, and the persons that were locked up were responsible for more than just one burglary.
That's correct. They admitted to 5, and it was just because somebody noticed that these people were in the neighborhood and let us know about it, which it really helps us.
And they admitted to 5 burglaries when they were arrested?
They admitted to 5, yes.
And in the, I guess it was in the Elmore section that they admitted to doing it?
Yes.
And so now they're incarcerated? They're
incarcerated. I believe their bail was $5,000.
So it'll be a while before they get out?
That's correct.
Hopefully.
Yes.
If residents in the area, Detective, want to attend a meeting, who can they call?
Well, they can go on the city website. They can call your office, or they can call me, 370-9727. Anytime. My phone goes on there at approximately 7 o'clock in the morning, goes off probably 9:30 at night. So if a lot of people, they don't want to talk to the police headquarters, they call me, and that's just the way it works.
Phyllis, do you get other neighbors where you live requesting how they get involved in the Block Watch group, and how would you tell them, and where would you direct them, and also throughout the city maybe?
I get a lot of calls at home for people wanting to know about the meeting, and I think it's great because I think that everybody should tell their neighbor and their neighbor, and then so on, because not only do you know the people on your immediate block, but you know people within the whole vicinity, and it's like a little family after a while. Everybody's looking out for each other. and it's very informative.
And Detective, one of the problems we have is, oftentimes we're dealing with internet and phones, and the opportunities for recreation are abundant, where years ago they weren't. And people don't stand in the backyard and flip hamburgers anymore and talk to their neighbors, do they?
Not too much, no. Not at all.
It's a real problem getting to know people.
Yes, it is.
Tell us about how you think you can overcome that through these neighborhood meetings.
Well, as Phyllis had said, a neighbor gets to meet their neighbors. They get to come. There's a city official there. You've been at several of those meetings during the year at several different locations. They get to see that the administration cares for their needs, their concerns, and they realize that with those concerns, we take care of them.
And we always tell residents what to do, right? Phyllis, you've been at them where they give lectures on what you should look. What should they not do?
Well, they shouldn't take things into their own hands, especially when you have all these neighborhood block watch programs out. You have the Elizabeth Police on a computer system that they can call at any time to get a response to their problem. Don't take things into your own hands. You're just looking for trouble.
And that means what? By confronting the people that they may think are suspect in the neighborhood?
That's correct. Get a description, get the best description you can, give it to the dispatcher on the radio, on the phone. She'll dispatch it out to the car, and we'll go around.
And any phone call on the police headquarters is taped, so if you say it, and we can then monitor it, and they can also pass it out at a later time as well, because it's on a recording, correct?
That's correct.
And is that helpful in police work?
That's very helpful in police work, that if the police officers get to a location, they can't find what is going on, what the complainant called about, we can always call them back, ask them what's going on, and it helps us. The person will get back on the phone and talk to us.
Now, Phyllis, do you think this has helped your neighborhood, block watch groups? I mean, do you think your neighborhood may be a little stronger because of a block watch group?
Definitely. And that's why I said before, I think it's very important that people tell their neighbors all to come, not just if you have a problem, but just to come get to know your neighbors, what's going on in the city, and that way maybe they feel more comfortable if they do have an issue that they can call Detective Cabarly or the city or the police department directly.
And in some other cases besides foreclosures, we've had reports of maybe drugs in a neighborhood, and we've set up undercover operations, and you've been instrumental in doing that as well if they report drugs being sold out of a house. That's
correct. I have a direct access to all the narcotics detectives. Their commander, John Brennan, has been great in handling, helping me out with manpower in order to attack these locations.
And one of the things I guess you have to tell the folks is this can't be done overnight, because this takes a little bit of time.
Right. Usually, if somebody comes to a block watch meeting and they're complaining about a drug problem, we have to explain to them that this could take a couple of weeks to do this. By the time you do your controlled buys, the observations, sending informants into the, just to build up your case that we can actually do a search warrant on that particular business. So, but when it's done, it's done. It's gone. That problem is not an issue anymore.
And Phyllis, would you recommend this for other people who say, hey, I don't care, whatever the city does, but would you recommend getting involved in a block watch group?
Definitely, and that's why they have so many. It's in every area throughout the city, and like was mentioned before, you can find the meetings are listed on the Elizabeth website. You can call city clerk's office, you can call public information office, your office, mayor, I know, has information on it, but every area throughout the city has them, and I think they're very important.
And Detective, besides the story that Phyllis told about a member of her block watch group, maybe you can share another story without using names about some success in some other block watch group.
Well, Mayor, there's two successes. One is when we start up a block watch program, there's issues in the community, in that area of the community, and those issues are addressed, taken care of, and then that block watch goes out of business. We know we've really done our job. Another one is how it works is these are all over the city. If something happens downtown, we will get that information to relay it to the people uptown also. So we had a lady who's going to houses asking, saying that she lost her keys and she needed $20 and a ride to go to the real estate office to get her keys. And it happened downtown. I gave that information out up in the North End area, and a couple weeks later she was up in the North End doing the same thing, and she was apprehended. So it's a great networking for people to know what's going on in the neighborhoods, and for us to know what's going on throughout the city.
Well, Detective, I want to thank you for all the work that you do on the block watches throughout the city, and especially for those success stories, and I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
And Phyllis, thank you for being a member of a Block Watch group, as well as sharing with your neighbors the success of your Block Watch, as well as some of the other neighbors.
I think it's great. I think everybody should at least attend one meeting and see what goes on, and then they'll be going back.
Thank you. For Phyllis Wright, for Detective Dennis Cabarly, and Director Jim Cosgrove, I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City. And happy St. Patrick's Day.